Lyndon here from My Modded Mini. I'm just going to do an update. I've done nothing major with it. It's just been maintenance. As you know, it's my daily driver, so you've got to keep it going. And I'll just go through a few of the things I've been working on lately, little faults or little things that I think are improvements. I'll flip the camera around and I'll just talk you through what I've been working on. It's pretty much been over the last 12 months now. So let's have a look. All right, I'll start off with some lights sort of things. So on these little beehive light bulbs here, I've got, as soon as I turn the ignition on, this ring light comes on and these come on as a daytime running light. So as soon as the ignition on's, they're on. The problem that I found is I'd wince every time I came into a roundabout and turning right in particular across the traffic, because these would go from low white to bright white and it wasn't really obvious. I'm pretty sure I'll have some other video that I've taken before I change the globes, and I'll put that up there now. But what I've done is I was able to find some globes online that were the right fitting that went from white when I put the daytime running lights on. As soon as the ignition's on, they glow white, and then when I turn the indicator on, they go to amber. And so they'll flick amber off, amber off, amber off. When I turn the indicator off, they'll go back to white again. So that's made a massive difference, and I've really been able to tell coming into roundabouts is that cars are pulling up a lot faster. Go back down to the end of the car, and these are some 3D printed tail lights that I made. So I designed these in Fusion, just using the mini tail light as a sort of measuring and inspiration for it. But a couple of things that are different. Obviously, they're clear. So I've got amber and red lights, the actual LED globes in these ones. I've got it that there's a completely flat surface on the front there. So that's the one that's been on the printer plate. And then you can see on the inside, so not on this side, but on the inside here, there's the diffuser. So, and that's what I've made it, so it just diffuses the light a little bit more, so it's not these pinpoint red and amber LEDs as well. But it looks pretty good on the back of the car. So I've just got those two bits of red from the tow hooks that I made ages ago as well. But yeah, I really like these. They sit out in the sun every day at work, right through 40-degree days, and I've had no issues, no yellowing, no fading or anything like that. The filament is a PETG Bamboo Labs transparent. Something that I did notice this, for anyone that hasn't done any transparent or translucent, they call it, 3D printing is slow it right down and go for thicker line width. When I was trying to use it on normal speed, yeah, it came out quite frosty and you couldn't see any of these details. Still looked all right, but yeah, quite frosty and you couldn't see anything. But slowing it down took a lot longer to print, but set it on overnight and you wake up in the morning and you've got two new tail lights waiting for you. Into the engine bay, I had a bit of an issue. I'll see if I can put the graph up on here, but I sort of was averaging at about 13 litres for 100 Ks fuel consumption. And then I noticed that it just jumped up, like it almost felt like really quickly it jumped up to about 20 litres for 100 Ks. I knew there was something was wrong. I could smell fuel every time I parked in the garage and I'd come out of the garage. You could smell fuel. So I pulled the carby apart, and what I found is the float inside the Weber here, it's got this little needle and seat that sits underneath here. This thing here, I'll shake it up near the camera, or near the microphone. It's evaporated out a bit now, but one of these floats had a heap of fuel in it. So these are quite precise on how much they should weigh and how much they should obviously float. So yeah, I ordered a new one of these. I wasn't going to stuff around trying to resolder it or anything like that, because they're not too expensive. So I ordered a new one of those, put that in there, and now I'm down to about 11 litres for 100 Ks. The other thing I did at the same time was put a fuel pressure gauge on here. So at the moment it sits up at about 5 PSI. I know that people say that Webers like down to sort of 1.4 to 4 PSI. So I will check that out. I've got a guy local who does dyno tuning and everything. So I'm going to hit him up as a bit of a local sort of Weber specialist as well. Car still starts fine, runs fine. Obviously not burning through the fuel or anything like that. Starts in the morning where it's down nearly 0 degrees, no problems. just with feathering the throttle a little bit, and then starts again when hot. So I don't think there's anything fundamentally I need to change, but if we can get it to just run a bit smoother, then sure, I'm happy with that. Something else I've 3D printed in here are these hose guides, I suppose you'd call it. It just sort of snaps on. I did this one in 2 parts because I wasn't sure how well they'd go in the engine bay. No issues, no flexing, nothing has changed on these yet. It just stops the hoses from compressing in. You can see that this one is squashed up a little bit. So I'm going to do the same thing for this as well, just to try and keep it at full volume for the breather hoses. And I'm going to do another one of these as well that's joined together. This is in PET G, which works better for under bonnet use because it takes the heat a little bit better. Mechanical stuff. I am in the process of, I've still got heaps of meat left on the pads, but I'm going to change these over to the greens. Yeah, to the green ones in there. Just give them a go to see if it makes too much of a difference on stopping. So I just want to have a look at it, see if it stops better. I've had a couple of heart in the mouth moments where, yeah, you wanted to push the pedal down a little bit harder and you thought it should have stopped a bit quicker than what it did. So I'm going to try those. The other thing is I've just got my new boots. I always run these ones. The last one scrubbed out. I'm pretty sure, like I had the video of this wheel bearing that was dodgy, and I'm pretty sure it stuffed the tyres. I didn't know it at the time, the wheel bearing was gone, so I was like, oh, I scrubbed it out, tested alignment, moved the tyre to the rear, scrubbed out another tyre, but this is over about 8,000 Ks before I changed the wheel bearings over. So I've just got 2 new ones, which will go on the fronts, and I'll put those on shortly. Went around to a mate's place this morning and got him to flip those around. He's got a tyre changing machine. On the inside of the car, mechanical, I've just put some new handbrake cables in, so I've ran those through, new seals and everything as well, which is nice. With all the wet weather we had, I had a bit of a leak, which, how I noticed it was that there would be water in the footwell down here, sort of pooled. There'd be some small drips here where it's just sitting on top of the carpet, but then this section here was wet, the outside of this speaker was wet. And what was actually happening is the water was coming through on the outside here, going underneath the glass and then running through under this vinyl essentially, down here, and then just dropping down on the floor. So how I've tried to fix that, and haven't been out in the rain again yet, meant to be this weekend though, it's getting a bit gross out there, is took the locking bead out of here. The rubber's about 3 years old, only had about the rubber's 4 years old now. It's had 2 years of being out in the sun at work each day, but it was still really pliable. There's no cracks or perishing or anything like that in it. So what I did was grab one of those, like your plastic body panel tools, spudging tools, stuck it in underneath here with this lock bead out, ran it along at a bit of an angle to give it some flex, and then just ran some Sikaflex window sealant the whole way around. So I've done that, and we'll see how it goes. Using the proper tool with a little bit of soapy water to get the locking strap back in was no dramas. Yeah, I didn't want to have to do the putting the whole windscreen back in again. It was a bit of a pain. And then the only other thing that I've done is had to get the window tint replaced because the guys that did it had marked it wrong when I had it done up in Brisbane, and the tint was actually on the outside of the car, which I think was fine while it was sitting undercover, because where I used to work, I had a carport that I could park in, so it sat undercover for years, day in, day out. Then this year we had a week of about 45-degree days, and I think what's happened is that then as you're winding your window down and it's 45 degrees minimum on the black, and I'm pretty sure it's just scuffed it all on here with the rubber that seals the windscreen, the window, it's stuffed it, made it all milky and foggy and a lot of scratch lines in it. So I ended up having to take those in, just get the fronts done. They're a slightly different tint, or the same tint, but they wouldn't do them as dark as the rest, just state to state. Yeah, wouldn't do it for their licensing and all that sort of stuff, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, it still looks good and not too noticeable anyway. I prefer to be able to see out of the windows. So that's the update on what I've done to the car, or have had to do to the car. Everything else has been sweet. It's been running really good. The only thing that I'm going to do now is I'll add a little bit to this video, because a few people have been asking me. I've got one of the seats out down here. A few people have been asking me about the seats because the subframes that I made for the MX-5 seats to fit in there. So what I'll do is take some stills. I've got the tape measure out. Take some measurements up, and I'll put that in this video as well. So it's all just a big roundup, and it answers a couple of the questions then that people have had about the seats. If people wanted to make their own subframes, it's literally out of 25mm square hollow section, and had no issues with that. Welded them on, it's all good, and it still works. Does make it a little bit trickier when you tip the seats forward to get into the back. So when the rest of the family's jumping in the car, we're going out for a cruise on a weekend, but you're just watching your shins, and other than that, it's good to go. All right, this is my modded Mini. That's about it for the update for this channel. I'll let you know how I go with the dyno once I start to get that sorted. But as far as this is going, brake pads will be in soon. Wheels will be back on. The wheel alignment got done the other day, and it is good to go. Nice way to spend a pretty cold day where it's raining outside. Cheers. All right, I'll just go through the subframes that I made for these particular seats, which are out of an MX-5. They have the rails in it, which I wanted to keep, so I didn't convert them to like a mini type subframe where it's static. I wanted to keep the rails in here because it just gives more adjustment as well, and it was least mods. I pulled the seats apart, pulled the airbags out of them, so there's no airbag in there. And then as far as the sizing and everything goes, 25mm box, and it's 450mm was there. The actual height that I did on this one is 70mm, so that's at the rear, and you can see that it's offset a little bit as well, and that's so that the it fits around the tunnel in the center. So this one here, I guess you'd say like it's at 100mm on the edge there. This end here is about 40mm, and you can see that they go in at an angle like that. On this end, it's still going to be 450 from there to there. It is still 25mm box. It was welded right at the front of here, and then you can see these are the little brackets that simulate all the same style as what the mini ones are. So they're at I guess you'd say at a slight angle, certainly not 45, maybe like 30 degrees down. But I just mounted them up in a jig, so I knew that they were going to be the same. Had my angle here when I welded them on, and then test fitted them in the car, and they were good to go. The only other dimension that probably matters is this one inside. So if we go inside the inside, I'll spin the camera in here so you know what I'm actually measuring. So inside here to inside here is like 360, 362. Yeah, and then when you've got that in the car, so I'm using the normal mini brackets, and then I've got my amp and sub that sits underneath my seat here, and then that piece that's offset, you can see where it sits. So close over to the tunnels coming down here. One corner sits just here. You can see the indentation on the carpet, and then it sits to here. And it made it that it was a little bit easier to go in through this way as your subframe's tipped up. If it was all the way across here, it made this gap here pretty loose, pretty tight, I mean. So you'd be smacking your shins. I'll go around the other side of the car and show you what it's like. So if I want to hop in or want to put someone in the back of the car, I normally just pull the seat forward, flick the seat forward like that, and then you can see that it comes up here. So this is the only bit that I tell people is, hey, just watch your shins as you're going through past here, but the same sort of sized hole is there. It's just that that part sticks out, whereas on a normal mini mount, that part won't stick out because it moves forward with the seat when you bring it forward. Once they're in, it's got all your normal locks, and it's got the lever at the front. And you can see you can get heaps of room in here as well. Yeah, so that's the MX-5 seats, how they fit in. It's pretty neat, and they're pretty narrow. Got nice bolsters around them as well, so it's good. And the other thing I forgot to say is I've been going all in on organising my drawers with my 3D printer now. I'll flip the camera around and show you what I've been doing in here. It's good. So I've been using a Gridfinity setup. If you haven't seen that, look it up. It's bits of print that are like this. It sits down. These are the skinny ones that fit along the edge for this one. But then each of these boxes have the matching piece on the bottom. So you can adjust them. You can adjust like where you want things to go, mix and match as you go. I've just got these ones as flat black boxes with a red lip. Just make sure that everything sits in its place as it's meant to. But then really comes into its own for things like your sockets and that sort of stuff. So these are embossed, so it actually sits up. But yeah, I've got all my like metric side up here, and then my 1/4, 3/8, 1/2 inch sets go down, imperial side, as well as the bigger sizes for the mini. And then those, because they don't sit very well sitting up and down like this because of the height of the drawers. So I model these in Fusion. You look at them from the side, looks like that. But it's just that half cut out, like a half pipe. Again, it's got that on the bottom, which meshes in with that on the side. And then they just fit in there like that. Means all your stuff doesn't move around. Got all my electrical stuff. Started doing these ones, which is an actual cutout, like your foam cutouts. Except these are 3D printed plastic. Makes it nice and easy. I didn't worry about naming these. The only reason I name these ones is it's good for when my kids are helping me and I can say, I'll go and grab the blah, and yeah, they get out there and get it done. Haven't done the files yet. Screwdrivers, same deal. Got those because I've got a mishmash of sets, so I made it so that it all just fits in on top of that. And then yeah, I'll just keep going through. Done my pliers, drawer. So that's the good thing is I know when the kids have used something and haven't put it back where it should go. And it can be like, hey, go and grab the blah. And then, yeah, I know what's missing. All right, so that's about all that I've done so far. I'll keep you updated. If you like, subscribe. There'll be more of these videos coming up as we get through winter. I actually do want to try and get up to the snow in the Mini because I think it'd be pretty cool. Get a photo shoot done up there. But as we get into the warmer months, it'll be nice cruising weather again, and we'll get out for some weekend drives. Cheers.